Let's talk vegetables. Vegetables are the easiest part of these minute meals, especially if you buy them frozen, like I do. And the reason why is because the work is already done for you. You only have to portion them. And what I mean by the work is you can't just freeze fresh vegetables. You have to prepare them for freezing, and that's called blanching. What you do when you blanch vegetables is you plunge them into boiling water for 2, maybe 3 minutes. Then you take them out of the boiling water and plunge them into cold water. That stops the cooking. Drain them. Now they're ready to freeze. What blanching does is it's like it locks the vegetable. It fixes it. It holds it. It protects the flavor, protects the color, the texture. If you want to do an experiment, inexpensive experiment, take a piece of fresh broccoli, either from your garden or the produce section at the store. Put it in a plastic bag and put it in the freezer. And then check it a week or 2 later. What you'll see is all the little green florets that you see on the top of broccoli, they will all have fallen off. And what you have is this kind of scraggly looking branch thing that looks like a miniature tree. It's still edible, but it doesn't have any eye appeal. It no longer looks appetizing because it's been ruined, basically. The freezing killed it, basically. So by blanching, you stop something like that from happening. Frozen vegetables that you buy in the store, those are already blanched. They're blanched in advance for the freezing. What kind of vegetables do I buy? Let's look at some bags that I've saved from my vegetables. Here's how I buy vegetables. I buy the biggest bags I can find in the store. Green peas. This is mixed vegetables. Corn, peas, carrots, and so forth. White corn, sometimes I see it as yellow corn. Green beans, I love green beans. And then finally broccoli. So those are the frozen vegetables that I buy a lot. That's what I always stock in my freezer. The next step is you have to portion them down, right? What is a portion of vegetables? The USDA, which is the United States Department of Agriculture, defines a portion of vegetables as equivalent to 1 cup. Here's my 1 cup container, 1 cup. That's fine if you're measuring something that packs in there nicely, like small vegetables like peas or corn. How do you measure something big, like a head of broccoli? What's 1 cup? It doesn't pack really nice the way peas and corn will, or say a head of cauliflower. If you've got a big head of cauliflower, what's 1 cup? So what I find is a lot easier is I measure all my vegetables by weight. And I like 4 ounces, which is 113 grams. If I put 4 ounces of peas into this measuring cup, it'll come right up to the 1 cup mark. So 4 ounces is about equivalent to 1 cup for vegetables that pack easily. For those that don't pack easily, like long green beans, what's a cup of green beans, right? Some vegetables just don't pack very well. How do you measure it? I think it's best to go by ounces. Now what I've got is a lot of vegetables that I just bought recently. They're all in the freezer. I'm going to start packaging up some of those, but I want to show you one thing first because it's a little bit different. It's this right here. This is mashed potatoes. So what I like to do is I buy the instant mashed potatoes. You just follow the directions on the box. It tells you how to mix them up. I let them cool enough until they're comfortable to handle, and then I package them up again in 4 ounces. These are a little different to work with, but it's the same thing. You just portion it, put it in little packets like this. The difference is I put the mashed potatoes in, and then I put it on the counter and kind of press it down flat with the top folded over, and then I put it in the heat sealer to seal it, and that way it takes up very little room in my freezer like this. Put these away. Let's measure some vegetables. I'm set up now to start portioning vegetables, but I want to explain a few things first. You'll see this piece of paper that's stapled to my impulse heat sealer. This is parchment paper. And the reason why I put that on there is I find that it releases from the plastic. After it melts the plastic, it releases more easily. Is it necessary? No, it's a convenience for me. I have my scale set up over here. I use a paper bowl. This is a funnel, a wide mouth funnel. It's the top of a spaghetti sauce jar. I repurposed it, cut it off. I use it as a wide mouth funnel. And what I do here is I usually start off by doing, say, 10 bags at a time. I use my cutting board because it has lines in it where the wood was joined together, and I know this second line gives me just the right size bag for my minute meal portions. You can see what I'm doing here. My bags are all done in one big long strip. Now it's just a matter of cutting them all up and stacking them up. You can see how easy this is. All right, there are my 10 bags. I'm going to need to cut more, but there's my start. Let's get some vegetables out. This is another reason why I like to measure in 4-ounce packets, because this is a 5-pound bag. I know this bag is going to give me 20 portions, and the last portion, if I measure everything correctly, will be the same size. I'm not going to end up with 1.5 ounces or 2.5 ounces left over. I should get 20 4-ounce packets out of this bag. There's a easy release thing on this bag, but I don't use it because I'm going to repackage my vegetables, so I just cut the top off. So I need to turn my scale on with my bowl on it, and it'll do what's called a tare weight. It eliminates the weight of the bowl. It's set to 0. I have a little 1-cup plastic bowl here that I use. That should be about 4 ounces. 4.0 exactly. See, I know what this does. I've done this hundreds of times, so I know. And this is the reason why I like a paper bowl. I can bend it and shape it, get my bag open, put my funnel in there, hold it up to the bottom of the funnel. There go my vegetables in there. Nice neat little bag. Heat seal it. I mean, how easy is this? This is actually kind of fun. There it is, a 4-ounce package of vegetables. I'm going to do the rest of that bag, and I'll show you what I end up with when I'm done. So there they are, 20 portions of vegetables. And now this is why I'll save 1 or 2 of these old bags. I'll wipe out the inside, get them clean on the inside, turn it inside out, wipe it out well with a damp cloth, maybe a little bit of Windex on it or something. And then these I can put right back in there. They're not going to fit as compactly as the individual ones will, because now they've been reportioned and there's air in those bags. But there's one bag for the freezer, and here's my other. So there they are, 20 portions of vegetables. This took me 18 minutes to portion. And as far as how long these will last, if I have 1 of these per day, a bag will last me 3 weeks. But I usually have such a variety of vegetables in the refrigerator, freezer, that I might have 1 of these every other day or every 3 days. So you don't need to do this very often. You might do a big thing one day, spend an hour, hour and a half doing it, and you might not need to portion vegetables again for 2 or 3 months. I thought I would show you broccoli separately, because although it comes in a big 4-pound bag, the bag actually contains for 1 pound bags. And they say that you can steam inside of these, but I want 4 ounce bags. So I'm going to portion those 4 bags into 16 bags. And this requires bigger little plastic bags. So let's do some broccoli. Get my scale set up, and you can see the size just makes it a little bit more challenging. That's 3.9 ounces, that'll be good enough. I don't use this thing, the funnel, because the pieces are so big, it's easier to just put them in there like that. And there's my bag of broccoli. That's a big size bag. That's 4 ounces. That's way more than a cup if you would try to measure that volumetrically. But that I would consider to be a portion size. So there you see how I do vegetables. And it wasn't a lot of work. I maybe put in 2 to 2.5 hours total labor time today. Not all at once. I took breaks in between as I did my different vegetables. And do some numbers with me. I did 4 vegetables today. I did broccoli, peas, mixed vegetables, and corn. Out of the corn and the mix, I got 20 servings from each of those. And then the broccoli and the peas, because those were 4 pound bags, I got 16 servings of each of those. Plus I had 9 servings of mashed potatoes already in the freezer. I did those the other day. So that's a total of 81 servings. I like to use 2 vegetables each on a plate of food for lunch and for dinner. So that's 4 per day, 81 servings. This is going to cover me for the next 20 days. I'm not going to have to touch vegetables again for 3 weeks. I do a little bit of work on one day, a couple of hours, and that's it for the next 3 weeks. For the rest of the time, it's like I did on the first day. Heat and eat. Get a plate of food on the table in 5 to 6 minutes. And the best part, no pots and pans on the stove. Nothing to wash at the end of each meal except a plate and a fork. So that to me is the best way to do vegetables.